the church yenye nilikuwa ninatengeneza jina yake, because people could come wanasema Makongeni watu wako na roho, you know, like sasa si Jackie amefanya kitu, you see, it's the church.
It's the church.
But the same church that I'm doing this service for never stood by me. So like kila mtu tu hapo zile za no, let that boy go home.
Hello guys, it's another exciting show today that we've lined up for you. Kama kawaida, welcome to the Connection show, where we always say this is the #1 Adventist online show that comes to you every single week. So today, I don't want to talk much. I just want to listen to stories that inspire us, encourage us as Adventists. So tukianza, I have my guest here. My guest here anaitwa Jackie. She'll tell us more about herself, where she comes from, and what she does. Anyway, let's go. Karibu sana Jackie to the show.
Asante sana na happy Sabbath.
Happy day.
Naitwa Mayaka Jacqueline. Mayaka Jacqueline is a member of Makongeni SDA Church in Nairobi. I come from Kisii, Gucha, is it a county? I don't
District or something.
Yeah, Gucha and then Nyamache. Yeah, that's my place, and I got married to Nyakach.
Yeah. Kwa Jaluo sasa.
Yeah, niko na mtoto mmoja, msichana Chantel. Yeah.
Okay, so Chantel will be joining us, by the way, before we end this program today. So tell us this story about this young man, Hillary. I think I attended some couple of weeks ago, Sing to Save Hillary, and I got a chance to get this story. And kasema kwa show, ni lazima utakuja kwa show and you tell us this story. It's an exciting story, it's a sad story, but I think it will inspire someone or encourage someone somewhere. Sindio? That our God is there, is able to do everything. Sindio? So take us through this story.
It happened in April 2016. We had gone for a cruise in Mwea. That is the Makongeni SDA Church. So the choir was there and ambassadors. Hillary was one of our ambassadors that time.
Yes.
He was at the age of 22.
22, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
22, okay.
Yeah. So it happened like it was on a Friday. That is, we finished, that was the second week. Now we were crowning the crusade. At around 7:30 p.m., we were at the stage performing. Unfortunately, the power went off. So like we had to wait until they fix it. After some time, initially we had booked a ground where we were to hold our Sabbath worship.
Oh, sasa ile crusade inaisha, now you had booked a place.
Because now we expected many people to come. Yeah, and like the churches from that district were also to attend that Sabbath.
Okay.
So we had to look for a larger venue to hold these people. So that day, unfortunately, the MCA of the area had also booked the same ground. Although we had paid and they accepted we use the ground. Now, unfortunately, being a politician, I think they gave him a priority over us. So we had no option.
Shetani yu halali pia.
Yeah. So like we had to go to the host church, which was Ngurubani SDA Church. So it was like around 5 kilometers away from where we were. So they had to take the seats, the tents, so that they prepare for the Sabbath. So at that time, we saw the lorry going, the ambassador, some few boys, and the assistant choir director was among them. they went as they took the seats to the church. After some time, like few minutes, we saw the lorry coming back. So according to what we had experienced earlier, we thought maybe gari imeshindwa kupanda because that place iko na matope, and then it was na kamulima mulima hapo. So we assumed something like that happened. Fortunately enough, the power came back, and the pastor who was to minister at that time just took over the pulpit.
Oh, took you through, okay.
Yeah, and then he just said we need to pray. So he prayed for the electricity, and he also prayed for Hillary.
He had already heard the news somehow?
Yeah,
Oh,
because by the time the lorry was standing there, the pastor went, okay, like they called them. So then they went, as we didn't notice like anything had happened.
Oh. So wakafika wakasema, they just call a few people, kuja, this one has happened.
Yeah.
Not everyone knew.
Yeah, not
you only
everyone.
had pastor praying
Yeah,
about it.
as
Okay.
we had him praying for one of the boys who's had an accident. So after finishing the prayer, we also had our prayer session as a choir. We also prayed for the boy. At that time, we hadn't known the extent of the injury. Yeah, but we saw the lorry going. They said they were taking him to hospital. So at that particular time, I just requested some two ladies. I was the health director in church that time. Yeah.
Okay.
So being my docket, I had to take care of him. We went, we followed them to the hospital. Being past the visiting time, we had to wait. Like the security couldn't allow us get inside.
What was the size of this hospital?
It's not that big, but
a
it
level
has.
2?
Okay, it's a level 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it has outpatient and inpatient.
Okay.
Yeah, so we really tried to beg them to let us in, but they were adamant that that time they don't allow visitors. And when we are there, I could hear Hila talking, like hadi ana shout, Jackie, where is Jackie? You know, like niitie Jackie.
Someone who's in pain and really wants
Yeah.
immediate help.
But the voice was just high, like you could hear.
It
Like
was
si
not a
tuko
faint
nje ya
voice.
gate. Yeah, tuko nje ya gate, but tunamsikia tu. So eventually the security personnel allowed us to get in. So we got in. At that time they were praying, like the first aid was done, so they were praying so that Hila can be put in the ward. So we got inside after the prayer. I just went close to Hillary and I told him, I'm here now. So he just held my hands and told me, Jackie, usiniache hapa. Like, take me to Kenyatta. You know, I know you work there. Na najua ni wewe tu utanisaidia, so tafadhali nitoe hapa. So I reassured him that still it's a hospital, there are doctors there. Whatever Kenyatta can do, it can also be done there. So like I really tried to calm him down. He was admitted in the ward. So I just had to go and see the doctor, like to get what he has done on him. Yeah, so at that point I went, we talked with the doctor, but unfortunately he told me that they didn't have a CT scan, like they didn't have any machine in that hospital. Yeah, so I was like, now how do we know what type of injury he has? And he was like, now there's nothing I can do. What I've just done, I've given him some painkillers for him to sleep until the following morning. Then now we'll get to a facility which can be able to do the CT scan. So I just felt like, you can't just admit somebody like that, and being that there's a facility nearby which can do that. So I just requested him to allow me take the patient to that facility.
Because in this facility, facility, they were, what did they do to him? Only the painkillers.
Yeah, they just gave him
No
painkillers.
X-ray, no CT
nothing.
scan.
Yeah, they didn't have the machines. So like they had to wait until the following morning. So the doctor was really like, he never wanted to discharge him. Yeah, so at that time...
What could be the reason? Because you don't have this equipment, you don't have a diagnosis, you have nothing. What could be the reason?
Okay, to some extent I understand. You know, at that time I'd already introduced myself. So he knew at least I have a know-how on what's happening.
So.
Because the first question I asked him, on what diagnosis did you admit the patient? So he told me, okay, to him, I know he was trying to protect himself. Like, he didn't know what to do. And being a private facility, you know, a patient gets in and out at that particular time, there has to be queries. So, like, he had to consult if he can discharge the boy. He told me, give me some few minutes, I write for you a case summary. But we waited for a whole hour. Nobody was in the vicinity. Like, the nurses were not there, the doctors were not there. There were 2 doctors at that time. But by this time, we were waiting for the case summary. There was nobody. So kulikuwa na support staff au wa kuclean. So tukajaribu kumuuliza daktari ameenda wapi? Ati asijui mahali ameenda. Ati wamekuwa tu hapa. Nasa kwa wapi? Hakuna mtu. So that time ndio sasa hata sisi sasa unajua like we know our rights. Like you don't force me to leave a patient hapo kama sitaki. So hata sisi tukakuwa wakali. Hata at some point niliwaambia sasa wacha to report kwa police because mnezaje admit mtu, sisi tumesema tupatie patient wetu, we clear the bill, then we take him wherever we want to go.
Whatever happens to your patient.
So wakati walijua like tumekasirika, daktari akatokea. Akakuja na the discharge summary, akanipatia, tukapatiwa bill. So we cleared from that facility. They didn't have an ambulance. So tulikuwa na magari ndogo. Like tuka-improvise tukalalisha kiti, then we placed him there. On the way to the Karera nursing home, it's just within Mwea. I was seated just next to him as we laid him there. So nilikuwa tu karibu na miguu zake. So ananiambia, Jackie, nasikia miguu zangu nasikia ziko mzito.
He's numbed.
Yeah. So nikamwambia hebu jaribu kuinua mguu, and he couldn't. Like ananiambia, I'm really trying but nasikia iko mzito, like kuna kitu kinanivuta chini. So nikamwambia, okay, relax tu. Namuza na unanisikia na vile nimekushika? And he was like, no, I'm not feeling anything. So anyway, like having a know-how on what normally happens when somebody says like he doesn't feel, now I started getting like scared, you know, like kumbe huyu mtoto ameumia vibaya. Because ukimwangalia like he didn't have
no blood, ukuona damu ati oozing. You know, kuna mtu akipata akianguka, you can imagine umeanguka from a pickup. So you expect maybe blood somewhere.
Unfortunately, Hillary didn't have, okay, like he was not bleeding. He only had a bruise at the back of the head.
That should make you more scared.
Yes, because now like you really don't know if there's internal bleeding. Yeah, but we just went, we got to the hospital. He was received. At that time when the doctors now were trying to check on him, we realized that he could not feel anything from the lower abdomen to the lower limbs. Like, hadi walikuwa na prick. Walikuwa na prick na sindano, the needle. So like, anadunga-dunga. Hapa unasikia.
Hillary hasikii anything.
He could not feel anything. So, that's when now my fears were being confirmed. That it could be like a paralysis.
So like you guys mko kwa gari mshafika, let's say you've gone to the next hospital. What next there? What happened?
So they requested we take him for a CT scan. So they asked if we had the money to pay. So tukawambia pesa iko.
So you paid first ndio kafanywa.
Yeah, definitely in a private facility, like it's not like a public one. So wale lazima utalipa ndio
ulipe kwanza pewe risiti uende kwa radiographer.
Yeah, so we just paid, we went, we did the CT scan. It was around 11 p.m. We had to wait for some time before the results came out. So during this time, the entire period that we are with Hillary, bado tu anaongea mingi, like he really wanted to attend the Sabbath. And
so time inaenda, I can imagine people were nervous. What's happening? Hillary ajarudi.
And then, you know, he was like, hata yeye mwenyewe hakuona like ameumia vibaya sana because
yeye anafikiria church.
Yeye anafikiria tu why am I here because ni kitu kidogo tu, at least they could allow me to go back niende church. So alikuwa anaongea tu mob.
And by the way, for our viewers back at home, kiona the zeal of church being brought in an Adventist home, umeenda Adventurous, Pathfinder, and I'm telling those people who are watching me, imagine you'll never deviate from it. Sure. You can go outside, ufanye all the things that you want, but remember one day, one time, you'll come back home. So I think that's a lesson to learn, by the way.
Sure. Yeah, like that was the time I learned that Hillary was like somebody who had grown fully in the Adventist belief. And unfortunately, me, I didn't know him. Like, he was new to me.
Oh, you guys, when you come, because mlikuwa choir na ambassadors. So I can imagine maybe ambassadors, uwezi kuwa unajua everyone, by the way.
Okay,
it
like,
happens.
Apparently, Hila had come to church like a year ago. But unfortunately, now that the ambassadors, like, we couldn't mingle that much.
Yeah.
So, personally, I didn't know him.
But Hila knew you
Hila
very
knew
well.
me.
Yeah.
Okay, later he explained to me that during a youth seminar, where I was one of the facilitators, that is where he knew me. He knew I'm Jackie and I work at Kenyatta. So like him, he knows me very well.
But you don't
me,
have
I
an
didn't
idea
know
of,
him, yeah.
Okay.
So
I get.
we waited for the results to come. Finally, they came and we took them to the doctor. So they just looked at it and they just told me now the only thing we can do, tutangoja daktari mkubwa kesho asubuhi. Because, okay, the way they said, it's like, yeye tu ndiye anaweza
those people were there calling to interpret.
Okay, okay, like I know maybe like before we make a conclusion, acha daktari mkubwa akuje assess. Yeah, so wakatuambia tu itabidi mungoje daktari wakuja asubuhi. So we had to look for something for Hillary to eat, at least ndio tutoke hapo. So he ate and then we left the hospital. By that time he was also tired, like ameongea the whole night. You know, now this is 4 in the morning. So tukasema tu at least sahi ametulia. Ilifika mahali like anajaribu kuongea, unaona ni kama is straining. Akalala tu pole pole. So as we left,
ni after madawa amedunga.
Yeah. So sisi tukatoka tukaenda back to the hostels. Tukaenda ndio to freshen up because it was already morning, like si kwenda kulala. So we got there, we found, by the way, the choir members never slept. Nobody slept the entire night. Like they kept calling.
Mtoto nini mfanyikia?
Unajua like lazima ukwe na wasiwasi.
Apparent is always
They thought vile walimuona amekana anaongea, they knew ni kitu tu kidogo atatibiwa arudi.
So people were like waiting, wapatie news, waambie.
So, mbona watu wamekaa, kwani ilikuwa kitu serious. So when we came back in the morning without him, tukawapata tu wako awake, tawashaanza kuoga. So tukawaelezea, but we didn't tell them exactly what it was. We just told them ako stable, tunangoja daktari mkubwa muone asubuhi.
So msharudi, mmeacha Hillary huko. What next? Was there anyone taking care of him?
No.
Or what were the plans?
No, okay, we left him alone in the hospital. Yeah, so because we also knew we are just taking like few hours, then we get back to the hospital. So by that time, there was a team coming from Nairobi to join us. And among them was our church pastor. So Pastor Mugo. He came.
Pastor Mugo, the master
Meshach,
guide, Nini,
yeah,
I know him.
Pastor Meshach Mugo. So they came to come brief, tukamwambia, we've left him there, but
the condition
we
is
cannot
good.
say that he's well. Yeah, so I just explained
just
to him.
To remember, were you given the results by the doctor? Daktari mkubwa that you are being told anakuja?
No, bado hatujarudi hospitali.
Sawa.
So I mean, this is a time tumetoka hospitali. Like we've come back to freshen up, then we wait for them to call us because walituambia tutapiga simu. So tukabrief pastor, tukamwambia siku nzuri vile. It's not like something minor yenye tulikuwa tunafikiria. So it didn't take time. Nikapigiwa simu kutoka hospitali and they told me it's urgent, we need you at the hospital. You know, definitely what comes into your mind at first, it's like, kwani amepass? I mean, you know,
I can imagine that feeling.
Yeah, so to me, you know, like, I just...
You always think of the worst.
Yeah. Because I know how it happens, like at our facility, you know, whenever there's something or maybe a person has succumbed or maybe...
Breaking that news.
Yeah, unaambiwa tu unahitajika hospitalini. But kama ni kitu kama test ama anything, unaambiwa kuna test tunataka fanyiwe.
You go straight to the point.
Yeah. So ukiona umeambiwa hivyo, to me, something just crossed my mind. God isikue venye nafikiria. Wacha tu huyo mtoto asikufe jameni. But fortunately enough, we went to the hospital. Tukapata madaktari. The first question mimi niliwauliza, yuko? Na akaniambia yes, hata baada amelala. Yuko hajasumbua. Tangu vile mlimwacha amelala tu. Daktari amefika, so ndiye anaenda kumuona. That's why we had to call you people, mkue hapa karibu ndio our brief. So we waited for some few minutes. Daktari akamaliza, he came and he asked for the next of kin. So previously when we opened the file for him to be admitted, you have to give a next of kin. So the next of kin was me.
Was you?
Yeah. So pastor akamwambia, it's Jackie who is the next of kin. So daktari akatuuliza hawa ni nani. So like I think maybe he thought I'm a relative to him. So ndio pastor akamwelezea, we are church members. He's one of us. So like hapa hakuna mzazi, hakuna any blood relationship hapa. So akasema, so you are the pastor. Akamwambia sasa, we went inside, me, pastor and one of the elders. So daktari akatuambia now the boy akona fracture ya spine at the cervical region.
Hiyo ni wewe na pastor mnaambiwa?
Na elder, one of the elders, yeah. So tulipoambiwa hivyo, that was when now I really felt like it's heavy on me, like mtoto mdogo, you know, you picture a lot, like, so what does it communicate? So anyway, we had to take it in. And the doctor said they cannot be able to manage him well.
So they need a transfer.
Yeah, they wanted to refer us to Embu District Hospital, but we requested a transfer to Kenyatta. So the doctor just agreed and he said, no, Kenyatta will be the best. So we got a discharge, we paid the bill, and we hired an ambulance. It took like few hours for them now to prepare everything for us, to organize the nurses.
You work at Kenyatta, so maybe you had colleagues who maybe will help you in this process.
Yeah, at that time when we had everything now at hand, like we've cleared, we have the discharge summary. Now we were waiting for...
This is on Saturday or Sunday?
On Saturday in the morning. Yeah, so I called my boss at Kenyatta, my supervisor. So I told him, tumepata accident. Na mmoja wetu ameumia vibaya, we are coming to Kenyatta. So I just wanted to inquire who were on duty over the weekend. So akaniambia, we usikue na wasiwasi, I'm telling them, just come. So like many people at the casualty knew kuna staff wanakuja. Yeah, so, and walijua anakuja na ambulance. So the facility also called Kenyatta, wakawa alert, wakawaambia, there's a patient tunatuma, ako in an ambulance. So we left Mwea at around few minutes past 10. That's when we were leaving. So at that time bado hila tu, like hayuko comfortable.
He's still numb, mguu yote
Yeah,
numb.
hakuwa nasikia anything. Hakuwa nasikia anything.
And was he in pain?
No, he couldn't feel any pain.
Just talking normally?
It wasn't, I can't say it was normal, because like, hata tukiwa kwa njia, atafika tu aulizao nurses, Jackie yuko ama ameshuka? Wanamwambia yuko. Me, I was seated in the front. So, mpaka inabidi niongee, nimwambie hila niko hapa. Oh, sawa. Tena tukienda kidogo, Jackie yuko kweli? So like, alishinda tu amesumbua hao nurses, anawauliza maswali mingi. So we got to Kenyatta at around 3 p.m. We were received well. We had some few members from the church who had also come to receive us. So at least we were a good number. And now that the staff were also there to help me about, the procedure there was slightly lighter on our side. Because at least like mmoja akitumwa lab, mwingine anaenda radiography, mwingine, no. Like everything was so swift. We did another scan and an x-ray. By that time, he was feeling pain on the right shoulder. So fortunately enough, shoulder haikukuwa na fracture. Ni ile tu soft tissues zilikuwa zimefura, and then ndio hiyo ilikuwa inauma. I think that impact ya kuanguka. So the CT scan was done. Ikatoka.
X-ray didn't show anything, so you went to CT scan?
Yeah. Okay, we had to do them both. Yeah. Because CT scan ilikuwa ya kichwa, and walikuwa na repeat the same that was done at Kareda nursing home. So ilipofanywa ikatoka, daktari akatuita kwa room, consultation room. So tulienda bado sisi, tulienda na some 2 elders. Tukampeleka. Kufika hapo ndio anatuambia, now it's too unfortunate, this is permanent paralysis.
That news is being broken while Hillary is there?
Yeah, Hillary had
Elder
it.
is there?
Yeah.
Pastor is there?
No, Pastor didn't come.
Pastor didn't come?
Yeah, because he couldn't come, you know, like,
alikuwa
lazima
ameshafika that
angebaki
morning.
ndio wamalize crusade.
Okay.
Now being we were the organizers of the crusade, he had to be there. So tukaambiwa na daktari ako na permanent paralysis, apelekwe kwa ward, a disc was to be inserted hapo kwa cervical, C6, 7 and 5, 6 and 7. Yeah, so we were admitted in Ward 6C. He stayed there for 3 days. We did an MRI, which showed.
So here you had to convince him, maybe.
No, at that time he knew. But like him, he didn't understand, like, he didn't believe it was something that could be permanent on him. Because I remember he asked me, so you mean sitawahi tembea tena? So nikamwambia, hiyo ni report ya daktari, as we are waiting from God. Just have that faith. Them, they can say anything. Hata unaweza ambiwa, like, you only have 3 days to live.
But our God is an able God.
God is there always to fight for us, like when we trust in him. So, like, he had the hopes. Eventually atatembea. So after, we did an MRI to guide the doctors on how to insert the disc. So ilipofanywa, that is after 3 days, wakamschedule for surgery, kwenda kuinsert that plate. It was costing 90,000. So the church ikatoa hiyo pesa, we bought the disc. By that time we called the family. That's what I forgot to tell you. When we were at Embu, sorry, Mwea, like now after being told he's paralyzed, now we were compelled to call the next of kin. That is now the family. We explained to them. But Hillary never wanted us to call. Like aliniambia, tuliongea na mom, nikamwambia niko kazi, nimeshikana. He had already finished his college, so alikuwa attachment. Na job, akadanganya anaenda ushago kwao. So akapewa permission. Okay, alikuwa najaribu kutafuta ile permission ya kwenda.
I remember when I used to do that when I was a young boy. Because church.
Yeah.
Yeah, because maybe guys were going for swimming, and your friends are going for swimming, so you have to.
Yeah, you get a way of getting
to get whatever you. Really
yeah, so
wanted.
like that's why he didn't want us to tell the family. So nikajaribu tu nikamconvince, nikamwambia itakuwa mbaya. Wakikuja kujua uko mgonjwa na hatukuwaambia. But still hakutaka kabisa. So nikamdanganya, nikamwambia fanya hivi. Aya, simwambii. Siambii mtu yeyote. Akaniambia usiongee na mama, nikamwambia siongei na yeye. So nikamuuliza tuongee na nani? Hatumwambii yuko vibaya. Tunamwambia tu uliumia kidogo lakini umetibiwa.
Hiyo it's kama mko Embu ama mko
bado tulikuwa Mwea.
So tumerudi nyuma kidogo.
Okay. I forgot that bit. So akanikubalia niongee na the sister. So tukapiga hiyo simu, it's on a Sabbath, watu wako church, kumbe naye simu yake iko silent. So she came to call back at around 11.
The mom was in Nairobi ama back home?
No, they in up country.
Okay.
Yeah, even the sister was in up country. So when the sister aliona hii namba imenipigia sana.
She called back.
Yeah, she called back. So kupiga tukaongea na yeye, nikamuuliza she's also Jackie. So nikamwambia I'm calling from Nairobi, tuko na Hila hapa. So akashtuka tu ile mara moja, anauliza nini imefanyikia Hila? So nikamwambia no, amepata accident kidogo. Tuko crusade, tuko Mwea, but hayuko vibaya vile. Tunampeleka Kenyatta. Ananiambia wewe niambie tu ukweli. Kama amekufa niambie tu amekufa. Nikamwambia no, hajakufa, nipe niongee na yeye. So unajua like tumemuongelesha, tushamwambia na Hila hataki ajue. So nikamwambia saa hii kuna procedure inafanywa. Maybe you wait kidogo, nitakupatia. So wakati tunatoka ndio niliambia Hila, nikamwambia ongea tu na Jackie. Juu amekupigia simu yako, ilibidi nichukue. Na ako worried mbona ni mtu mwingine ana receive simu. So akakubali, nikampatia simu, akamuongelesha na akamwambia nimeumia kidogo tu. Kamuuliza mbona unaenda Kenyatta kama ni kidogo? Sasa akamwambia hapana, ni vile crusade imeisha, watu wanarudi. So tumeona wacha tu niende Kenyatta. Yeah, so the sister came the following day. And the parents came the day we were doing the MRI. Yeah, so wakaja wakamuona. That time we stayed at Kenyatta for 2 weeks. That is, we did the surgery, disc ikakuwa inserted. Yeah.
Okay. Sasa, okay. We'll just take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have Chantel back in the show. We'll want to know life ya Hillary ilikuwaje after being given the news that he will never walk again. It's not an easy thing to cope with. So, kwa show, we'll just take a short break. Then when we come back, we'll get to know more what happened to Hillary. How is he right now? And the care that he needed, is he really having it? So, see you after the short break. Thank you. Welcome back to the show. Karibu sana for those who are joining us. Karibuni sana. And right now, tukirudi kwa the second segment, I have a guest who has just joined us. Anaitwa nani? Chantel. She'll tell us more about herself. Tuambie Chantel ni nani, anatoka wapi, what she does maybe. So, Chantel, karibu sana.
Hello, hi. I'm Chantel Mora, currently a student at Railways Training Institute, pursuing catering. I'm in my second year, but right now I'm doing my attachment. I'm almost finishing it up. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chantel. Oh, so you're still a student, sindio?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Sawa, Mom, Chantel has played a very big role to Hillary's life, eh?
Yeah.
Perhaps maybe you introduce us, tell us maybe what role, ama, nimejua Chantel ni mkubwa atajiongelelea, so maybe just an introduction of that.
Yeah, I need to make it a little bit clear so that you can be able to understand how Chantel came into Hillary's life. So after getting the discharge from Kenyatta, we were sent to Spinal Hospital for palliative care. We took him there. By that time, we still had the family together with us when we were going there. And we didn't know he was to stay for that long. And unfortunately, you know, the paralysis now was like getting up, like iliku inapanda, pole. So by the time like we were getting to spinal, alikuwa up to the upper abdomen, huku juu, bado hakuwa nasikia, like he couldn't feel. Na mikono pia sasa ikafika mahali the fingers could not grip ya mkono ilikuwa imeisha. Like ziko tu. So hange shika anything, hange kusalimia, like basically he could not do anything with his hands. Now remember we are at a point that the lower limbs hazifanyi, the upper limbs pia, he cannot like do anything on his own. So like we had to feed him. And you understand in hospital what normally happens, we have very few nurses. And like if you get a facility which has like bedridden patients who needs to be fed, to be cleaned up, no, like it becomes tedious. So saa zingine kupata mtu wa kufeed patient inaweza kuwa ni hard. So we could go to the hospital. Like me, I could cross over from Kenyatta to Spinal Hospital.
Where is Spinal Hospital by the?
Lenana Road.
Oh, Lenana Road.
Yeah. So I could cross over, go maybe feed him and go back to work.
He loves family, wako up country.
Yeah, so wamesha talk after kumadmit Spinal, they went back. So like wakatuachia.
Okay.
Tuendele kumshughulikia. At that time, because you realize kazi pia saa zingine ni unpredictable. By that time, Chantel was in school. You were in which form? Form 2. Yeah, and they had already gone to school. So when she came back, she could come and assist me Like she could come over lunchtime, feed him.
So that's where Chantel came in now.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's how she came in.
So kama si wewe, it's Chantel.
Yeah, nikishikana job namcall namwambia kimbia hosi ukamfeed. So she could go.
Well, so you guys have a very big heart. Who does that?
It's God's grace.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could get back in the evening. When I leave work, I go to hospital. I stay with him. I feed him. Then I go back home. And my husband at that time was also so, like, he was so caring. Because I remember there's one time Hila asked him, like, will you allow me to call you daddy and mom? So he said, just call me whatever you want to call me. I'm comfortable. To us, you're like our firstborn. So, like, he could also help. Like, when I'm not able to come, alikuwa anakuja. Ama saa zingine he could come maybe when he's out of work. Anakuja, tunatoka na yeye jioni usiku. Yeah. So, Chantel came into the picture.
Okay, Chantel, perhaps maybe tell us. Itoke kwako, si kwa mom sasa. What your experience, taking care of a sick patient. You're not a nurse like mom. No, no. Own experience, you've never had a sick person close to you. I believe that,
Yeah.
So, what was the experience? How was it? Yeah.
It was not easy at all because when he got the accident, it was, I think one day, the next day I was going back to school because he was admitted on Sunday and Saturday, and Monday I was going back to school. So I left, I went. When I came back, was it during midterm? I found him at spinal. So that's when I started taking care of him. I used to wake up in the morning. First I do my assignment. Then after that, I could rush to the hospital, feed him lunch. Then when mom comes there, I leave to go back home and cook for my sister. She was, I think, in class 6. Can't remember well. Yeah, that was how we were balancing the work.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, sawa. Personally, in a hospital, we have wards. We have the men's ward, the ladies' ward.
Yeah.
You're a lady. Are you being allowed in?
Yeah, I
men's
was
ward?
being allowed. They had curtains.
Okay.
Yeah, so they could close the other side. Now you have your own patient there. Yeah.
So this time, you knew Hila before. So, mastori, mlikuwa mnapiga mastori, mnasema.
No, I never knew him before.
I
knew him the time when I was from midterm.
Because I'm imagining, yani, you don't know this person, then you help that person to that extent. You know, that's, I don't know how to call it. Perhaps someone there at home can get an adjective to describe whatever that is, but only God anaweza kubless. So, ukizidi kuona mgonjwa, what were the challenges? Were you having some challenges? Maybe mom can help you there, or ukianza hivyo?
Yeah, there were a lot of challenges because I'm so scared actually. I can't look at a sick person. Sometimes he was complaining, he's feeling headache, he started to cry. Now you see, also I used to cry. It was not easy. Seeing him being moved from the bed, he can't even feed himself. Drinking water, he was using a straw. It was really hard.
It was really hard for
Really
you, tough,
hard,
and mom
yeah.
could still allow you to go
And
there.
I was in Form 2 that time, yeah.
Okay, that's really good of you. So, perhaps, mom, when did Hillary got discharged from?
We stayed there from May to December. In fact,
From May to December.
Yeah. It was on 23rd. What they normally do at spinal, they normally discharge patients home, at least to be with their families, the ones who are like, okay, that is a palliative center. So there are those patients who are stable, they can go home and come back again to the hospital. So basically, by that time, like, they felt Hillary was okay. He can go back home.
Have that care
Yeah,
from home.
at home.
Because before even who was paying these bills? Because maybe
The church.
you can the church or the
Yeah.
church stood with Hillary.
Yeah, the church stood
Thank
with
you.
him. Unfortunately enough, by that time we had already applied for an NHIF card, although it's, at least we used the father's NHIF card to clear some bit of the bill, although we paid a large amount towards the same.
As a church.
Yeah, so what basically, when we were getting out of the hospital, we went home with Hila, but alikuwa na pressure sores mingi, like they were terrible. Yani like kabla atoke spinal, kuna zingine mpaka alifanyiwa grafting, at least hiyo ilikuwa imeheal kidogo. So hizi sides kwa hips, bado the bed sores were there and they were so deep, na kwa mguu kwa heels, because ile design ya kulala.
So since tolewe December, that is 2016 December.
Yeah.
Is he been on off the hospital ama?
No. Currently he's
God has
I want
actually I wanted to
that.
ask where is he, how is he now?
Yeah.
Where is he? Yeah?
Yeah, at
Akwaje?
least when we went home, that is when now I had challenges. Like, I had to deal with the bed sores. They were so bad. Like, that experience, okay, I'd also not like experienced that, like nursing the wounds. You know, they're so deep. At times they have, you know, when you look at the wound and it has that two darkish spots, then it means that that's not a healing wound. So like you have to unaichonga na surgical blade. So unakatakata hizo nyama until ikela yenye iko reddish, iko tu kama nyama. I know it's scary. It's scary, but we could do that. I thank God we had a doctor also in church, anaitwa Dr. Josephine Wambui. So we were working hand in hand. We could search him kwa nyumba, like tunashona.
Kwa nyumba after kuwe discharged,
After
alikuwa na kwake ama mlikuwa mnamwona wapi?
No, we had to rent a room for him.
For him, okay.
The hospital wanted to discharge him home, but he said he refused to go home. Like, anauliza sasa na hizi vidonda nitakufa. You know, in the hospital they used to exchange stories. So
then that duration umeka sana umezoea watu.
Walikuwa washazoeana na watu. So alikuwa amejua like kuna watu hukufa because of the pressure sores kama ziko well managed. So Hila akaniambia, "Mom, if you want me to go and die, niacheni niende home." But akaniambia mimi sitaki kwenda home. Heri nikae hapa nikufie hapa than kwenda home. So the family was called, the church came. Now like they had to make a consensus now on the way forward. So Hila akasema, akaitwa tu akaulizwa, "Now what do you think? Your family is here, mwende now home." Hila akawaambia, "No, I'm not going home. And besides, bado naweza hitajika kuonekana. So if I go back to Migori, what happens? Na kitu imefanyika, maybe it's urgent at night and I'm supposed to be in hospital. And the only hospital that can help him is spinal." So basically alikata. We had to rent a room for him, tukampeleka. So hapo ikakuwa ni between me and Chantel. Now that is where Chantel really played a big role, because I'm working on a straight shift, 8 to 5. So basically the whole day I'm not there. And you see now this is a dependent patient, like he cannot do anything on his own. And also the pressure sores. So that's when we had a task, tunashona. After 1 week, ukienda kufungua, unataka clean the wound, udress afresh, unapata ilitokana. like hizo nyama zimeoza zimekatika. So tena tunarudi tu pale pale kuchimba, tuna dress. We did that for over a year. Hizo wounds like haziishi. So it reached a point, I really got like, you know, him, he doesn't feel the pain. But me, who is doing it, I feel the pain. Like, unajua ukikata nyama ya mtu, you know, huyu ni mtu unamkata. Aski, but you know, wewe unasikia hiyo pain. Yeah, so ilifika tu time nikaambia God, no. We had bought so many materials za kudress. At least tuone kama hizo wounds zitaisha. With the help of another doctor from Uganda, alikuwa anaitwa Dr. Biribwa. So this is the guy mwenye alinisaidia tu sana.
I can see you took your nini ya Hillary now even like personal, you know, that one is so much amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, because at that time, basically there was nobody to do that. Yeah, like the doctor was also working. Maybe she could just come when she's free. So, like I was supposed to be there full time. And the family also, like, they never came back again to see him. So I had to struggle with the
to
wounds.
step up and
do
those things.
So I remember this time that Dr. Biribwa referred me to another lady who was selling some gauze za kudress your wound. So this lady akaniambia, this is a product yenye imeingia kwa market. In fact, you are the first person to use it. So I'm not like promising itamaliza, but wewe nenda utumie. In fact, that lady was, I really don't know. I think she was a godsend. Because aliniambia, sitaki nikulipishe. Na kupatia, nenda ujaribu. If it is working, at least I'll have a basis ya kuziuza. So I remember that day I went home. I was all alone kwa hao. I cried, nikaambia Mungu, no, I will not continue doing this. I mean, why do you subject me kukata nyama ya mtu? You know, like, do you know, it reaches a point that instead of you praying, like, unagombanisha God. Why do you allow me to pass through this? So nikamwambia, this is the final goals I'm going to use. And if it is not going to work, then I give up. Nilienda nikamuosha, nikaosha hizo wounds vizuri. I dressed it. So after 3 days, I was supposed to remove it. After 3 days, then you clean. After 3 days, unlike those other times that ukifungua unapata iko na ka infection, unapata iko na hiyo dead skin, hiyo time nilifungua, it was clean, in like ni nyama tu. So at least nikapigia Biribwa nikamuuliza, hey doc, at least this time nimefungua naona haina like any infection, dead skin haziko. Akaniambia, then we are doing well. So let's keep up, at least tuone kama zitafanya. I used that goes for a month. And I thank God that hiyo month vile iliisha, in fact hizo wounds zilikuwa like hizo nyama zimemea. But hata ukiangalia to date utaona tu akona tushimo. So I thank God, by the way. Kama kuna mahali God alianswer prayers. Zile prayers zenye mtu ako yani in pain, that was the time God answered my prayer.
Okay, Jackie, we want to wind up the show today. Perhaps you tell me the challenges. As you are winding up, we want to, there is someone maybe watching somewhere who would really want to come and help Hillary. Maybe the challenges that you're facing currently with Hillary, that I mean. Any?
Yeah, okay. Like before I even get to the current challenges that we have, you know, like there's nothing you can do in this life without challenges.
True.
Like in anything you do, there has to be challenges. So like you see the time Hila was at home, like now full time, it's like you have to be there. And unfortunately by that time, kulikuwa na vita church. Like even before tutoke spinal, vita zilikuwa zimeanza church, like
concerning
concerning Hila. There's one member who had come. He wasn't in church for some time. So this time he came, or of course he knew we have a patient in hospital. So akikuja hapo akanipata. We have Pastor Joel Nyangoka, whom we also used to work hand in hand. Akiwa spinal. He was the ambassador's leader by that time. So akapata ni sisi tuko, Chantel. And when he came to church, akauliza, you know, like he came like more than 5 times. Anapata tu ni sisi wale. Like every Sabbath, I could be given chance ya kuambia washiriki vile Hila yuko. So akauliza church, why is it that Wakisii ndio wanashughulikia Hillary sana? I mean ndio wako karibu na yeye, and yet watu wa kwao like they are not concerned. So unaona ikaanza kuleta hiyo shida between Wakisii na Wajaluo. So I remember at that time ilifika mahali mzee wangu sasa walianza sasa kumwambia sasa huyu kijana arudishwe kwao. Na kama arudishwi,
guys started inciting now.
Kama harudishwi, withdraw your wife asikuwa na kushughulikia. So akaanza kuleta shida. Akaanza mbona mnamshughulikia, kwani ni wewe peke yako unataka hizo blessings? You see, like okay, najaribu kumuuliza like there is no one else. As in kama kungekuwa na mtu, jua kuna mtu amezuia mtu, si angekuwa anakuja. But basically hii time yote umekuwa ukiwa na ni sisi tu. So paka ikafika mahali it was really like now you have to choose.
It's me or
okay, hiyo time hata alikuwa shaanza kusema, you know, wife wangu amenitoroka, ameolewa na kijana mdogo, you get. So akafika mahali akasema choose. And that time you remember we are with Chantel. So najua anasema Hillary anakatia Chantel at the same time ananikatia. He even told pastor.
Alikuwa mshiriki?
Ni mshiriki wa Makongeni to date. So akaenda kwa Pastor Mugo, akamwambia I feel my marriage is threatened. Akaulizwa aje. Najua bibi yangu ni kama ameolewa na Hila. So akamuuliza how are you talking about the same
and you're
Hillary,
just out there to help
the Hillary mwenye namjua mwenye ako paralyzed at so like how, because I know he is catheterized, like he cannot pass urine, you know, like when you don't feel, basically you don't feel anything. So hata mkojo ikija he cannot feel it. So that's why we have to use catheters to date. He has to be on catheters and diapers. So akamuuliza sasa how? Because
even me I don't understand.
So ilikuwa mbaya until ilikuwa like between life and death. Sasa hizo unajua ameanza kunithreaten. Pastor akaniambia mpatie room kidogo. Juu sasa ilifika mahali wakati sasa aliniuliza choose between me and Hillary. You know, like hizo maneno zilikuwa zimeendelea mpaka I really felt so bad. Like the church yenye nilikuwa ninatengeneza jina yake, because people could come wanasema Makongeni watu wako na roho, you know, like sasa si Jackie amefanya kitu, you see, it's the church.
It's the church.
But the same church that I'm doing this service for never stood by me. So like kila mtu tu ako zile za no, let that boy go home, aende kwao, you know, kanisa imeshughulika kutosha, so aende. So basically kanisa ikaacha pia kumsupport. Hiyo time akiniuliza hivyo, najua like the whole church ilikuwa inajua Jackie ameolewa na Hila plus Chantel. So hiyo time akiniuliza hivyo, out of that bitterness, na mimi nikamwambia okay, I choose Hillary.
Umekasirika.
Yeah, hata mimi nikamwambia sasa, you know, it really irritates when somebody can tell you ya kwamba, you know, mtu mwenye ako paralyzed, does not function, amekuoa. So like, amekuoa kivipi? So nikamwambia tu I choose Hillary. So at that time it was really bad. We had to separate. Yeah. So to date we separated. Yeah, for all those years. So akiwa home, that is where now Chantel really played a big role. And I always tell her like, okay, I had not mentioned even that time. But deep inside I could tell God, you know, I don't know how this girl was able to do that. Because you see, like, somebody who is immobile, when he wants to go for a long call, and definitely, sunona nakula tu vizuri. So, like, the stool inakuwa very hard. So, as we know the system yake vile iko, ukiona ameanza kusweat, tunajua anataka kupass stool. But sasa, of course, you position him like unamtanisha lale na side. Ukimtanisha lale na side, because now it's hard, it doesn't come out. So like I had to improvise tutamsaidiaje, because like ana strain, you see, like anajaribu kupush, yani the muscles hazifanyi, like they can't push. So tulikuwa tunavaa gloves, you start scooping. At least the hard part inatoka, then you press the lower abdomen, sasa inatoka tu sweet.
All that you guys do?
To me, I don't feel like it's something weird or maybe it's something not doable. But I always look at Chantel and I'm like, God, I just don't know. Because this girl could birth him, najua naosha kwa kitanda juu. Okay, maybe saa zile nimemwosha kama ni weekend, ningemuinua kutoka kwa bed, nimweke kwa kiti at least akae kidogo, then ama maybe you want to spread the bed alafu mrudishe. So Chantel, like akiwa home, hiyo ndio kazi alikuwa anafanya. She could cook for him, feed him, change the diapers. Hata catheter ikitoka, I had already trained her, she knew how to put it back. You know that she used to do all that until sahi. So tumeendelea tu naye hivyo.
And are you still a baptized member for Makongeni Church?
Yes.
You still go to church?
Yeah,
you still,
but that time when now things were really bad, in fact, I stopped going to church for a whole year.
I think you guys, it's just God who's using you so much, and whatever you're doing, God, I know the Bible says whatever you do unto me, I don't know, there is a verse, you do what you do unto others, you do
like
you're doing unto me. So I believe you guys, whatever you're doing in Hillary's life, we didn't get a chance to bring Hillary to the show, but I believe one of these coming days he will come.
Sure.
And he will give his side of the story. But whatever you guys are doing, Mungu awabariki sana, 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 sana. To the viewers back at home, to the Adventists watching me, these are things that happen day to day in our churches. We don't mention them by names. At times we shy away from them. But here, tutakuwa tunazisema wazi, and it's not even to, itakuwa ni kubishana ama ni kufanya kitu. We want to touch someone's life. We want to inspire someone, just as Chantel and her mom came through to save Hillary and to be with him until this time. It's not easy mentally, physically, financially. There's some things that maybe we do that no one can explain, no one can understand, but it's only our good God who can maybe understand what we are going through. So Mama Chantel na Chantel, perhaps I know it's not an easy task for you people, right? There is someone somewhere out there anataka kusaidia maybe Hillary, yeah? Maybe someone has been touched somewhere anataka kusaidia Hillary. How do we go about it? Maybe you can just
Chantel is fearing. So I really want to appreciate the VOP Voices of Praise. They came through for Hillary because it reached a point even the family was not like concerned about him. Like for the entire time, the entire season, they've never come to see him. There's a time Hila was telling me that hata sitaki kuongea na watu. They call him and like, umetembea. You know, that thing now used to hit him back. So I really want to thank everyone who came through for the concert, Sing to Save Hillary. Hillary, the system had changed. Like, akitoka kwa baridi, ana sweat. Akiwa kwa jua kali, ako sawa. You see, that is now opposite. Ilifika mahali like hata church hangeweza kuja because ukimkalisha akikaa tu kidogo hiyo baridi kimpiga unaona ameanza kusweat, and like akisweat like ana strain, so anaanza kumwana kichwa, so he couldn't come to church. The VOP came in. I remember it, one lady in church who is a friend to Hillary. She was also an ambassador that time. So she had a friend. They came to see Hila. So vile walimuona too, I think they felt pity. Like, you know, that is like a wasted resource. You know, he's just lying there. We are stuck. We cannot like move anywhere because we don't have the finances. So waka organized the concert. They had already consulted kuna daktari ako hapa Westi. So akawambia there is something I can do about the sweating. And we didn't have a wheelchair. Wheelchair yake pia ilikuwa imeharibika. So we needed to buy a wheelchair for him. We were able to raise some funds. Ambazo tulimpeleka kwa huyo daktari. Alidungwa sindano ambayo ina cost 60,000. But I thank God that the sweating has now stopped. He doesn't sweat. Amen. Like anaweza kukaa nje, siku hizi anakuja church, he doesn't sweat. You know, hata yeye anasema, you know, when he sweats anakuwa uneasy, like hiyo kustrain, body na strain, and then kichwa kinashinda kikimuuma. So, unajua hiyo ni dehydration. Juu sasa hiyo kusweat sana. So basically at the moment, the same doctor said that he can do a surgery. Like plant bone marrow, hapo mahali kuna fracture, so that at least kuna percentage ya Hillary kusimama. And he said it's costing 1.4 million. Yeah, so that is where we are. Hillary depends on diapers, like daily has to be on a diaper. He has to be on catheters. We normally buy them. There are some drugs he has to use. Yeah, and so many other things, like you have to get the gloves. Hizo ndio tunatumia most of the times. So hizi vitu zote nimekuwa nikifanya. When now the family stopped, the church also stopped assisting him. Apart from maybe some few friends who could come through for him. So basically, those are the things that we really need. At times, you know, it's strenuous. Chantel is at school. I'm the sole breadwinner, and I have also to take care of Hillary like fully. Yeah, until this time that the VOP came in. So that's when I really felt like they relieved some burden on me.
Mtu akitaka kutuma M-Pesa or to support Hillary directly, how does he or she go about that? Is there a number? Is there a pay bill?
Okay, we had a pay bill by that time, but ilifungwa.
Sai, are you free? Maybe you give your number if there is someone there who really wants to help.
Okay.
Maybe atume kwa namba yako. I know that one, it will help Hillary directly. So maybe you just Are you okay sharing your number?
No
for help?
problem.
Sasa, you can give us your number then.
My number is 0722 458 027.
0722 458
027.
027.
Yeah.
So if at all you are watching us from wherever you're watching us and you really touched by this story and you really want to help Hillary directly, kindly send something. Little is much when God is in it. Be it 100 shillings, 200 shillings. It will go a long way to help Hillary realize his dream of maybe one day to walk. Yeah? Our God is a miraculous God. He's able. Hakuna kitu yenye zashinda Mungu kufanya. Yeah. So as we are winding up, maybe Chantel nyamaza sana, maybe something that you really want maybe to say your parting shot.
I like to thank my friends. I have my best friend who is like a sister to me. She's Sheba. She's been the one who's been assisting me mostly when I'm at school. I could leave him with Hillary. She used to take care of him, feed him, and also the Makongeni youth. They've been a good help to us. Mostly they could come there on Friday. We have Vespers there. At least Hillary anafeel bado akona friends hapa nje. Pia kuna wale marafiki zake kutoka Homa Bay. Pia wamekuwa wakikuja wanamsaidia, the summer friends. We really appreciate you guys. Yeah.
So, thank you so much, Chantel, and your mom for heeding the call to come and share your story and the connection. We really appreciate and we don't take it for granted. For our viewers back at home, tunawashukuru sana. Kindly, here is where we will give real stories, real Adventist stories, things that are not being said in our churches. Here is where we will open up and inspire those people who are passing through difficult times. And I believe with God, everything is possible. Kindly reach us and tell us your story. And you never know, it will come out here and help someone. Ule mwenye akona hitaji, someone who has lost hope in life and needs that story just to brighten his life. And you never know what happens. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on this channel, The Connection. Karibu sana. Till next time, may God be with you.